I'm Sadie Jensen with Everything Bodacious Sewing Academy. I teach kids and adults the timeless skill of sewing. We're located right here in West Jordan, Utah. In addition to teaching valuable sewing skills, I want to give my students, friends, family the opportunity to give to those in need. This year, we are ringing in the holiday season with Christmas for Canines. We are making these festive Christmas socks for pets. All the proceeds will go to For the Love of Paws. It's an organization that helps the pets of homeless and the less fortunate. I have a simple video tutorial along with a free pattern that you can download. So I would encourage you to make these for friends, family. You can make them for your own pets. You can enlarge the pattern and you can make a full-size Christmas sock and just have fun with it. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll choose our fabric. We will have lining, and then we will have a cuff, and we will have the outside of your stocking. So you can just choose whatever you want. I think the more fun prints, especially for Christmas, and you're making a little pet sock, or you're making it for your friends or you know, your kids. Involve your kids in this too. It's a really fun project. So choose your fabrics, and I like to have different one for my cuff, which will be right here, and then I have a cute little bear fabric, and then I've got a separate one for the lining. So I've chosen my fabrics that I want. This is your pattern that you will download. The cuff, you will take it, and I've chosen this fabric for my cuff. You'll fold that in half and then place that on the fold, and you will cut that out, and you will cut 2 of those. Then you'll cut 2 of the stocking, your outside, and I decided I'm going to use this cute little chevron pattern for the outside of my stocking, and this for the lining. Okay. Then you can use anything you want for this ribbon. I think rickrack turns out cute. You can use bias tape, you can use any kind of hem tape, ribbon, rope, anything there. And then I just sew a simple little button right on the edge there. And then you've got your finished product here. Added on these for our pets is just a really easy neckerchief. You can cut this with pinking shears. You can serge the end if you want. You can do a zigzag decorative stitch, anything you want. Just cut out a simple triangle, and then that's my little neckerchief. And I've rolled this up, and then I put that in our little Christmas stocking so that it will make our pets happy. Okay. All right, so what I've done, I've placed my pattern right on the fold, and then I've cut 2 cuffs. So those are my cute little cuffs right there. Then I've pinned, and I've just used all 4 layers. If you have some good scissors, you can put them all together, cut them all at the same time. So I put all 4 layers together, pinned my pattern on there, and I am going to cut that out. And then once I get all 4 layers cut out, we are ready to get this sewing. Now the fun part starts. We get to sew. So what I'm going to have you do is you'll lay out one of the outside of your stocking, and then your lining and your cuff, and you'll do this with both. I've already pinned this one, and I'll show you how to pin that. So we've got both toes pointing this way. We've got our cuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take right sides together, and I'm going to line that up right there, and I'll just put 2 pins in right there. Then I'll take my stocking, match it, take my right side, and I will pin that right along there. I always like to pin. It just holds things, secures them in place while you sew. All right. And then when it's finished, you'll have 2 that look just like that. Now we'll bring that over to our sewing machine, and we're going to sew all 4 cuffs to our lining and to our sock. So you'll sew across here, 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 and here. And I like to use just the foot of my sewing machine as my guide, because we don't want a great big seam there. What we're going to do is just use that as our guide right there. We're going to sew ahead just a few, and then back stitch all the way to the edge. That just secures the stitch. And then all the way to the end, back stitch, and you're going to do that 4 times. So now what we've done is we brought these over to the ironing board, because what we want to do is we want to iron. This is how they look. Okay, so you've got both, you've done it right if you've got both of your lining on one side and you've got both of your outside of your sock right here. So we're going to turn that over and we're going to iron out our seams, because we like those to be flat so that when we turn our sock inside out, those are already nice and flat. I've ironed these except for one, so we have one left to do. What I like to do is fold that out flat and then just right along there. If you need a little bit of water, just spray some water on there. That helps. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to pin our socks. So I'm matching my 2 sides that are my outside, and this I've chosen as my lining. And I'm going to pin all the way around that. And what we're going to do, we are going to sew this and then turn it inside out. So I like to use this little trick when I'm turning it inside out. I need to leave an opening. And the place that we're going to leave the opening is in our lining. That way we won't see anything on the outside of our sock. So this is our lining. And I like to pick a place on the bottom. You aren't going to see that at all when we finish that. That's somewhat flat. I don't ever like to turn something inside out on a corner, a rounded corner, a square corner, or an inside round either. I like to pick somewhat flat. And I choose a different color of pin because, knowing me, I'll get sewing and I've got all these yellow pins and I will sew that shut. So I'll take my red pins and put one at the beginning of my opening, and I want about 1.5 inches for that opening to turn my sock inside out. So then I'll put my other red pin where I want to stop. We're going to start sewing here. We will sew all the way around the sock until we get to this pin. And we'll do a back stitch here, start sewing. When we come here, we'll do a back stitch. That will secure that. All right, so now what I've done is I've started at my red pin. I've sewn all the way around. Come here, I've just got this much more to sew, and then once I get to this red pin, I'm going to do my back stitch and stop. And right here, when you are, so that's how close I've got my foot. I've got a really small seam right here. So when I come to a curve inside or a curve outside, this is what I'll do. I want to drop my needle down, lift up my foot, slightly turn that. I'll sew a few, drop my needle down, lift up my foot, turn it until I'm going on the straight. And now I'm going to pull that pin out. I'm going to lift up my foot, slightly turn it, and this way you get a nice curve instead of a sharp. There we go. Drop it down, slightly curve it. Okay, now see how now I'll have a nice little curve to that. Alright, keep going. And once I get to that pin, I'm going to stop going forward and I will do my back stitch. That will secure that stitch. And now we are ready to take this little guy and we will turn that inside out and then we'll take it back over to the ironing board. All right, now we've got that all sewn. This is our opening right here. Okay, before we turn that inside out, anywhere where you've got a rounded corner or you've got a round going in, I want to clip that, but be very careful not to clip too close to the stitching. You just want to clip that, and what that does for you, a couple of clips there. I can do a couple on the outside. Okay. And what that does is it makes it so that it's flexible when you bend that. So you can go ahead and clip anywhere on the straight. You're okay on the straight, but if there's anywhere on the curve, you can go ahead and clip those. Okay? And I think I did those. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn that inside out. I like to have some little handy tools when I turn things inside out. I like to use wooden skewers. Sometimes I'll use chopsticks. I don't like to use scissors because many times that will poke a hole right in it. So you don't want to use the sharp end of a skewer because that can poke a hole in it. So what I'm going to do is just pull this through. Your opening where you had your hole, you're going to sew that shut at this point. Now, you don't have to make it real pretty because it's the lining unless you would like to make this sock reversible. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your lining, your little hole right there, and you're going to fold that in so that you've got no fray on the fabric there. Okay, and I can put a little pin right here. And then I'll take that over to my sewing machine. And what I'm going to do is just sew a little stitch there. I always do that back stitch. That secures it so it's not going to come out. Sew straight and back. And there we go. Now we can turn that guy inside out. So we don't want to leave a hole there. We'll lose all our little candy. It's stuck in the pocket. Okay, so now I use my skewer, poke those little linings out there, and you can kind of run that along there. Okay, and we're going to straighten this out, but what we're going to do is take this over to our ironing board now, and we're going to iron this all out flat. We're going to fold. I'm just going to show you this here, and then we'll iron that, but we're going to fold this over so that we've got our cuff. Okay, so now we've already ironed it. We've ironed our cuff down, chosen our little ribbon that we want for this, and I've sewn a button on here. You can put anything you want here for a decorative, button or a pearl or anything like that. What I've done is I've sewn this on my sewing machine with my button foot, which I love, but you can also sew it by hand. Anything just decorative there. Just adds a nice little touch. So now you're ready to fill that stocking. If you're giving it to your pet, some little dog treats or friends, you can put perfume or lipstick or anything you want. Just make it fun and festive. And happy holidays from Everything Bodacious.